Right, people are live. So, 1 second while I share the link, as usual. Okay. So about the background noise. It's half term. Right, this is going to be one of the maddest shows yet. All right, sorry about that brief pause. So we're talking about the 3 women that have gone missing. Sorry, ended up getting found in the water, drowned in Brighton in the sea. Obviously, it's been going off. You know what? Let me try and get some. Let's try and start from the beginning, because when was it? A few days ago when I did episode 4, I had Brixton Jesus come on, and I was just talking from the perspective of what I knew from the news. So when Brixton Jesus come on, he's posed a few questions that have made me think and made me start digging. So I've gone off and did my research. Unfortunately, the stream, my battery died on my laptop, you get me? So the stream cut out early, and we were meant to get back on that evening. It didn't happen. We were meant to get on yesterday. It didn't happen either. So we're here. See, got a panel. Hopefully they'll come on. But everything today has been up in the air. So, and everyone, like I said, it's half term. So there's children running about all over the place. So I am bearing with everyone. Everyone's had to bear with me. But I'm going to carry on anyway. And hopefully those of us who join will join. So first thing I kind of wanted to do, let me just see if I can find something. Because some of the revelations of the last 24 hours have changed the way this thing has been. Like, for instance, let's all right, 1 sec, people. My brain's a bit slow at the moment because of the fucking lifetime of abuse. You get me? Lifetime of hardcore abuse that we would not recommend for anybody. Fuck man, what am I doing? What am I doing? All right, I'm gonna do a screen share. Sorry, people, you have to understand. Man, we're born in the 80s. I'm not like you fucking what is it? The Gen Z, all them generations, or Gen X, whatever they are, the ones that know how to use fucking internet. That ain't me. Old school. So I'm gonna play the video. The video I'm gonna play here, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know who. I've never heard it before. But just gonna give you some understanding of what happened. When it finally loads up.
Phillips Latte Go for delicious coffee from
They do to
freshly
us.
ground
Make us
beans
listen to this bullshit.
with a velvety smooth milk
Imagine
froth.
that.
Discover all your favourite drinks and the
You can get a fucking coffee
fastest to
machine
clean milk
in your
system
house.
ever
Your
in the
bedroom.
new Phillips Latte Go. There's never a bad time for a good coffee.
That is true. But still, I want to see this. They just want to show us adverts, basically. Sorry, people. They just want to show us
diving,
adverts.
rivals on terraces, sobbing and
Shit adverts
crying.
about football.
Last minute.
He's dead. Big up all the Arsenal
So
fans as
three
well.
women, guys, were found dead in Brighton, the south of the UK, on a very popular tourist beach. They were three sisters, and the story is absolutely horrifying. And the police are stating that no other third party was involved in this. But if the investigation is still not closed, how can you be so sure that no other party was involved? No words can truly describe the pain of losing three daughters in the prime of their lives, the siblings' father Joseph said in a tribute. No pain, honestly. Three women, their bodies were recovered from the ocean near the coastal city of Brighton, England, and they have been named. Sussex police confirmed that the women had been formally identified as sisters Jane Aditoro, 36, Christina Walter, 32, and Rebecca Walter, 31, 1 week after their bodies were found at around 5:45 a.m. local time on Wednesday, May 13th. Emergency services had been called to the beach near Black Rock parking lot of Madeira Drive in Brighton on the day the bodies were recovered. Jane, Christina and Rebecca were sisters from the Uxbridge area of London. Their next of kin are being supported by specialist officers during this incredibly difficult time. Police said that the investigation into the siblings' death is ongoing, but confirmed that at this time, there is no evidence to suggest third-party involvement or criminality. Well, I would prefer the police to make these statements about no third-party involvement once the investigation has been completed. Because as of right now, the investigation is still ongoing, so we simply don't know what is going on. This has included the review of hundreds of hours of CCTV, inquiries at properties and businesses around the beach area to try and trace the woman's last movements and extensive engagement with our partners in Brighton and London. Police are urging anybody who might have information to basically come forward, and they're stating that this, was basically accidental as of right now because they have hundreds of hours of CCTV and they've asked a lot of people, they've asked the properties and business around, and that, this was basically an accidental death of three sisters. Now, that could possibly be true, and harrowing, unfortunate circumstances like this do take place in life. And that is a possibility. But as of right now, the investigation has not closed. So I'm personally not ruling out any third-party involvements because there is a significant rise in black women basically being found dead in waters in the UK. It's been happening quite consistently. And so I do think that perhaps there are killers on the loose somewhere. There's a consistent pattern in this, or maybe there's a target or something going on.
Sorry
to
make this controversial so quickly. I don't know if these people know what they're saying. I don't know if they're in on it in the sense where they've been given a script. Yeah, but what he's saying is not actually true. A lot of people get angry and say, that is true. But at the end of the day, this is somebody telling you that there's people targeting black people, right?
So awful, and I don't want to be naive and believe that this could be just accidental. The father's put out a statement and he says, "Today, with a heart full of sorrow and love, I pay tribute to my beloved daughters Jane, Christina and Becky, whose lives ended so tragically far too soon."
The father is being looked at as a suspect, but we're going to get into that in a minute.
Really described the pain of losing three daughters in the prime of their lives. Jane, Christina and Becky were more than daughters to me. They were my joy, my strength, and the beautiful light that filled our family with happiness and love. Now, I believe also the mother has passed away as well earlier on, and I just find it to be just so sad. The story has picked up and gone viral, and I'm glad that it has. But, how many more black women are we going to find being reported dead in waters until we ask what the hell is going on? Are there other systems at bay that we can't see that are facilitating this, that are expediting this? And I just find it to be so worrying. I don't want to put a conspiracy tinfoil hat on, but as of right now, the investigation has not closed. And so therefore, third parties could very well be involved, but the police are stating otherwise because they reviewed hours of footage and they're just waiting until they close this investigation. Listen, I don't want to make this about me, but as somebody like me who went through being sex trafficked and etc., there were a lot of men who were doing things to me that I would obviously go see, but also there's an entire system where, they would drug you, they would traffic you, they would beat you, they would do this and etc. And I do also believe that a lot of black girls get sex trafficked as well. And, get told to either move substances or they get, essayed, they get used in hotels, they basically get sold off, they get all of this. It's a whole underground world that I know first hand because I was somebody who went through it myself. And so that's why I'm not naive to the conversation of, you know, these black women that are being found dead in waters, what is happening to them behind closed doors? What is happening to them when they're on their own? Is that, you know, are they being hunted, or is this some kind of, you know, conversation? I know it sounds quite deep and quite twisted, but, you know, it is a reality that people do get trafficked either for sex or either some for their body parts or for something like that. And there just seems to be a pattern here where black women are being found dead in water. Black women, also black girls specifically, are much more
This is freezing up like.
likely to be sex trafficked than someone that looks like me. Believe me, I know, because I wasn't the only one being sex trafficked at that age, being passed around between multiple men to do things. It was horrific. I still haven't spoken about my story, and one day I will when I'm ready. And I know that it's annoying that I keep adding to it here and there in videos, but I'm trying to add that level of substance.
What we found when we were doing our research,
this story and other stories,
is that we're able to connect the dots in respect with so yeah, there has been a lot of women, primarily. I'm not saying like women go missing, people go missing all across the board, but there has been a pattern, yeah, of like women specifically. There was a pattern of West African women. So this was a few years ago. I don't know if I can find the article, but let me have a look. We'll get back to this guy in a bit. It was an article. I've got a good memory, surprisingly. This is one of my attributes. I'm a weed smoker as well. Right. So let me try and find the article and then I'll share it with you. This was many years ago, but I remember the article. All right, so hold on a second. See, I'm getting the recent stuff now. Hold on. See, because there's so much articles have come up with missing Nigerian women now, it's kind of taken up the search engine a little bit. So I won't go too into it. Yeah. So what it was like an article that was talking about these women who were being flown in to London from, say, I don't know, they were coming from Nigeria, and they were being put up in properties in around West London, so sort of like around like Hounslow, Kew, these Brentford, just these sorts of areas, Isleworth, and what was happening? They was in the houses, like, you know, they would be staying in the house, like a shared house or whatever, and then they'd get a call or whatever, and they'd go out and they'd never come back. And there was a pattern of this, and like the guy said in the video, it bears a lot of hallmarks to the sex trafficking. So it does have a lot of as a lot of hallmarks to sex trafficking. Yeah, and we'll get, because when I was researching all this, there's so many layers, and I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, but yeah, like he said, there's sex trafficking. There's like voodoo ritual stuff. There's like political corruption. There's all sorts. Like, obviously, like he said, until the police haven't come with a conclusive report, they've ruled out foul play. But until they get an answer, no one really knows what the deal is. But I think the way the media started pushing it was in a direction where their words, right? When I first heard about this, it's like 3 black women have been found out in the water, or the 3 women found in the water are black. Then it was like the 3 women found in the water are Jamaican. That's what I was hearing. Some TikTok video or something, yeah. Then the articles started circulating. Like, yeah, there's been more. Like, I didn't know too much about this. I did hear one or two things, but yeah, there's been articles saying, yeah, there's been quite a few women turning up, black women turning up dead in bodies of water. So it's made it seem, and don't get me wrong, yeah, it is a targeted. This is a targeted thing. You know what I mean? But they haven't been. See, if there was more specific, we would have been able to get context quicker. So because they said black women, we don't know who the fuck they're talking about. If you just say black women, what, black women from Grenada? Black women from where? You know what I mean? But if you specifically said Nigerians, yeah, anyone that understands about like Nigerian spiritual culture understands about the deity, the Mami water deity. So it wouldn't be uncommon. It wouldn't be uncommon for these practices to obviously be present in the Nigerian community in the UK. Yeah. Now, I've had some clashes on Facebook already. Clashes, but this is of white liberals who don't agree with what I'm saying, because you know what I mean. They really want this to be another. You know, they want this to be another. Yeah, is someone going out hunting black women, and yeah, there is. But you got to be more specific. If you check the names of these victims, we're going to go through them at some point. Obviously, I'm waiting for other people to jump in. Hopefully, yo. Okay.
I'm doing it, darling.
I've got my daughter giving me demands, you know. So, yeah, it's so. Let's have a look at these. Let's try and have a look at these victims then, because this is a cause for concern. So, all right, baby.
Getting it, Eileen.
Can you turn that light on, please? Can you turn that light on, please? I'm actually. Do you know I'm filming live, Eileen? I'm actually filming live. You know what I mean? What the hell is going on? Okay, hold on. Let me just see. Okay, so hold on. Give me 1 second. Because the internet is always moving things about. See, look, they don't. So when I can't even find the what I said yesterday, but the list of names, and there's been quite a few that have drowned and been found near water in the UK. They've mostly had Nigerian surnames. So you have to look into, this is something which is happening within the Nigerian community. And I think they know this as well. They know this. But nobody wants to step out and say, right now, you know, we love a boogeyman story, which this is, you know what I mean? But in this situation, you know, especially with the whole Tommy Robinson march and that, you know, it would fit so perfectly, you know, a rogue fucking team from the march has like broken away and started hunting down black women. But the odds that these black, you know, the thing is, you got to look at it like this. If it was some nationalist, yeah, then it would be the fact that they, every single time that they've managed to successfully drown someone, it's a Nigerian. If they were just going for, like, you know, if you're a nationalist, you could, anyone's fair game. If you wanted to go for black people, still, if you was to just target anyone who they class as black in the UK, You could have a Congolese one day. You could have someone from Barbados the next day. You could have someone from, do you know what I mean? So it's a very like vague term, especially if it was something like don't get me wrong, if there was someone who was hunting down people, black people, it would show in the statistics. This is somebody who's targeting specifically Nigerian, West African people. So we'd have to have some sort of inside information of who's who. This isn't random. These are not random targets. We've got to look into. I found some crazy shit, man. Let me try and find it. Let me try and find this stuff. All right, where are we going? So let me. All right, cool. Check this video. I ain't seen this video, and I don't want to make that. I ain't gonna make you watch the whole 26 minutes, but I'll give you a rough idea. It will give you a rough idea of what you're dealing with and why people are ending up dead next to water. And how.
Have you ever heard of a mirror that didn't show?
I mean, as much as, you know, in these times, yeah, you know, as much as we want to, sometimes we want to blame, you know what I mean? We want to blame, we want to blame. Sometimes, you know, people have to accept that this ain't a BLM issue. Do you know what I mean? This is not a BLM issue, I don't think. I don't know how BLM could turn this into like, to sensationalize this when you just show them the facts.
Show your reflection, but someone else's? In a quiet fishing village deep in ancient Nigeria's Niger Delta, a poor man once pulled a strange object from the depths of the river, a mirror that whispered at night, a mirror that showed him a woman who wasn't there. That woman, it turns out, wasn't human. They say he was never the same again. This is the forgotten story of a man who fell in love with a water spirit, Mami Wata, the goddess of mystery and temptation, and how one small act of desperation opened a gateway between worlds. This myth may sound like fantasy, but its echoes can still be heard in songs, in shrines by the water, and in the haunted eyes of fishermen who refused to cast their nets too deep. And it all began in a forbidden part of the river. So, sit back, because this is Africa Unveiled. Before we dive in, I know many of you are watching from around the world, united by a love for Africa. Drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. I'll be in the comments engaging with you. And if you're enjoying the content, a like and subscription would truly mean the world to me. All right, let's get back to the video. Otu was the kind of village where time drifted like mist on the river. Located along the sinuous creeks of the Niger Delta, it was a small riverside settlement, nestled among mangrove trees and humming with the quiet rhythm of fishing life. Children played barefoot in the shallows. Old women smoked fish under thatched shelters, and the men, the fishermen, rose with the tides, their canoes slicing silently through the water as they cast nets passed down through generations. But Otu had its rules, ancient ones. The elders warned every new generation about the 3 forbidden zones of the river system. These were dark, winding offshoots of the main creek, where the waters never settled and birds refused to fly overhead. They were marked only by silence, No frogs, no splashes, not even the whisper of the wind. Around evening fires, the old men would say, "The spirits live deep where light does not reach." If your net touches their home,
So these are sort of
will
like
not
mermaids, basically like mermaids tales. That's an ancient African tradition, West African tradition, and it's also something you see in Jamaica. It's quite popular in Jamaica at the moment because I've been seeing loads of shit on TikTok about it. Right, but they've been getting down to the river and they've been bringing a bag of things with them and doing whatever. So there's something to do with this water spirit. It's very, you understand. So when you got, people have pointed out that these killings, they seem ritualistic. Yeah, I agree. And then they're saying it's some sort of cult. I also agree. But I think that just the hallmarks, it doesn't have the hallmarks of someone, it has all the hallmarks of a Nigerian West African person. Primarily, I'm not saying it has to be Nigerian, but I would say that even though this is you get the mummy water thing from all over Africa, I'd say, judging by the names of victims and the the names of the victims alone, they all seem Nigerian. Now they might not all be Nigerian. There might be one or two, whatever, Togolese, or there might be someone from Benin or someone from a neighboring country or a neighboring region. But primarily, that's what it seems like. Could be wrong. If someone wants to correct me, that's all good. I'm all ears. Like, you got to understand, in Nigeria, this isn't looked at like fairy tales. This is not looked at like, this is real shit. This is real shit. You go to Abuja, yeah, billions of dollars exchange hands just through that, all the black magic market and all the black magic things they're dealing with down there is big business, huge business, right? So what's my next thing I've got to find? Sorry, there's a lot of chaos going on at the moment, people, because puppies and everything. So that brings me back to the actual. It brings me back to the 3 girls from Brighton. Let's just see what happened, because this is where things got confusing, right? And big up to Brixton Jesus, because he called this out. So we've heard these girls have died. 3 girls have been killed. Black women being targeted, and then we've been given the names of the 3 girls, and they're meant to be sisters. And obviously, 2 of them had the same name. One of them's got a West African name. For most people I know, they thought, that's a bit strange. Initially, they thought that the girl, the older sister, is married, and she's taken on the surname of her husband, because the father's name was listed as Joseph Walter. So it looked like, is that hold on.
They are.
Brixton Jesus,
That's
you that?
I made this.
Come on.
I made this. Can you hear me now?
Hey, you know what? Come on, bro. You come at the right time. I can. Do you know what it is? I might have to put my headphones on though, slyly. Yo, give him a quick rundown anyway. Let me get my headphones.
All right, boom. So we've been trying to set up this live stream for a couple of days for everyone that's watching. I am Tafari, also known as Brixton Jesus, the Anointed of Acre Lane, the Messiah of Mightsville, the Angel of Angeltown. And we're going to discuss the recent reports that ended up in the news cycle about a week ago. 3 melanated women found dead in Brighton. Multiple reports say found in the sea, some say found on the beach. Ultimately, they were found deceased, all right, expired. Now, the immediate questions that I had is, why are they sure that they and why is their nationality even part of the headline? Yeah, but specifically, they were reported as 3 Jamaican women, and I was wondering why
They were.
the fight. Yeah, and then there
Yeah.
were conflicting reports that they were sisters, and there were other reports that they were cousins. Yeah. When I read the reports and covered their names, okay. So let me, because I just jumped on this thing, I saw the notification. I said, let me jump on. I'm not even going to call you or nothing because I know you're probably already in the flow. So let me pick up my receipts then quickly because I have them in order.
Yeah.
Make sure I have them in order. All right. So from the Daily Fail, UK. Right? This is a report from the Daily Fail because we're going to use a mix of reputable and known sources, and we're going to use the mix of commonly known sources. All right. So the Daily Fail, UK News. The 3 young men found dead in the sea in Brighton are understood to have attended a student night at a beachfront club. We're going to stop right there because there were. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now go on.
All right. So we're gonna stop right there because these women were aged 29 or 30 to 34. Okay, and they came all the way from Oxford. Yeah. So I'm not sure why 3 women who came all the way from Uxbridge would be going all the way to Brighton to a student rave. That confuses me. All right. Okay. Sussex police were called around 5:45. And then, go on.
No, sorry, I wasn't saying anything.
Okay. Sussex police. This is on the 14th.
So I got a lot of background noise from the TV. Sorry.
Okay. Sussex. This report was on the 14th of May. Okay. Sussex police were called around 5:45 a.m. today to concerns for the welfare of a person in the water. 3 women's bodies were then shortly discovered in the sea near Madeira Drive. Police have said they are not searching for anyone else. Okay. Reports at the Coast Guard revealed that the women were in their late teens or early 20s and had been fully clothed when they were pulled from the water. I want to know what source at the Coast Guard said they were in their late teens or early 20s. Because these women were 30 to 24. Right? Okay.
They may have thought that we're just by looking at them. They may have thought they looked younger than they were, maybe.
Probably, but I'm still suspicious, man. Yeah. Seafood sellers in Sussex City say they believe the 3 young women had been enjoying a student night out at beachfront club quarters. The club on the beach Esplanade runs a weekly student event called See Next Tuesday, which finishes at 4 a.m. Billed as David Attenborough's 100th birthday bash, last night's event was said to have been packed out with many students spilling out on the beach. One worker said police were down earlier speaking to people from the club. Apparently, their handbags were found on the beach along with a coat. I saw Coast Guard officers searching for more of their personal belongings like phones. It's absolutely dreadful. The student night is always packed out. I was told students were spilling out onto the beach, smoking and drinking. Right? So there's more to read, but I'm not going to really continue because there's already things that have been cleared up. First of all, their late teens and 20s. They were in their early to mid 30s. Right? The women were confirmed to be sisters, but what I found confusing was the names of the 3 sisters. Okay. The names of the three sisters from eldest to youngest in chronological order were Jane Adatoro. This is the Times and the Sunday Times. Yeah. Jane Adatoro, Christina Walters, 32. Jane Adatoro, 36.
Yeah.
Christina Walters, 32. And Rebecca Walters, 31.
Yeah.
All right. So on an updated report, okay, 2 days ago, the family of three sisters found dead off Brighton Beach have urged people to stop online speculation surrounding their deaths, saying the women were quiet, close-knit, did not drink, smoke, or go clubbing. All right. I want to know who specifically from the family said that. And if they don't drink, smoke, or go clubbing, why did they leave all the way from the outskirts of West London in Uxbridge to go all the way to the south coast in Brighton, Sussex, to go to a student rave? On the off chance that they just decided that they wanted to go to a rave, because you don't have to be someone who goes raving to just go out one night.
Yeah.
But why would they go all the way to Brighton, and why would they go to a student rave? They are aged 31 to 36.
It's true.
Okay. All right. If they are sisters, why is the eldest named Adatoro and the youngest two named Walters? Do they have the same father? In reports, one father is claiming them all to be his daughters.
Yeah.
That raises questions as well. Okay. And then we discover now, because I'm hearing reports of the grieving father and all this kind of stuff. I'm searching through reports to find a statement from the mother, and I could not find one. Now, upon further research, when I started digging about, what the mother has to say, what the mother's statement was, it turns out that the mother died in 2010.
Yeah.
This is remarkably coincidental.
This is mad suspicious, and I've just found the article, and it says the three sisters found dead off Brighton Beach never got over their mother's drowning. Grieving family says the mother of Jane Adatoro, Christina Walter, and Rebecca Walter also died from drowning 6 years ago. Their loved ones revealed. And it says the family of the three sisters who were found dead in the sea at Brighton have spoken of the heartache and loss and how it echoes the loss of their mother, 16-year-olds. G.K. Johnson, the sister's aunt, described seeing the news report last week slating that the bodies of the three women had been removed from the sea. I just remember thinking, what has happened here? God bless them all, their poor families, she told the Daily Mail. Didn't you say, though, that someone had come forward? I don't know if it was you told me. Someone had come forward saying that one of the girls was her relative, but she was from Jamaica.
No, I didn't say that. I read a report that said that, but I can't remember.
But did you hear something like that?
I can't remember where it is, so I haven't mentioned it.
I seen that.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't.
I remember seeing something like that.
I haven't seen it again, and because I haven't seen it again, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't.
Of course, you got to be quick with this one.
You got to understand what I'm saying. You got to.
Yeah.
And screenshots are necessary as well because people. You have to understand that we have a lot of weird people out here, and this whole story is weird. So people do things to try and get ahead of the story, realize they fucked up, and try and clean up after themselves. Some people just mad, and they want to say, "Oh, this is my relative." Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we've got all of these different things to look at. This is a report from the Sun on the 22nd of May. All right, updated, on the 22nd, published at 9:14 a.m. on the 22nd of May, updated at 3:28 p.m. So the mother of three sisters who were pulled from the water of Brighton Beach also died by drowning 16 years ago, their family has said. Jane Adatoro, 36, Christina Walters, 32, and Rebecca Walters, 31, were tragically pulled from the water last Wednesday. It is feared the women who lived together in Uxbridge, London, were suddenly dragged into danger after misjudging the shingle shelf. close to the water's edge. Their aunt, a GK editorial who lives in Manchester, paid tribute to the happy girls who were the closest sisters and best friends who did everything together. The family said the girl's mum also tragically died by drowning in Birmingham in 2010, according to the Times. Their mum Janice went missing in January 2010 and sadly drowned in Brookvale Park Lake in Birmingham. The mum had last been seen by one of her daughters, who she lived with, before she went missing, with her family making an appeal for help. Janice suffered from stress-related mental health issues, but didn't have any medication for her when she vanished. Her brother, Lincoln, said at the time, and when I say her brother, that's what it says. I don't know if that's the mother's brother or the sister's brother. Her brother Lincoln said at the time, the girls are so upset and can't stop thinking about missing. This is that Joseph, assume that's Joseph Adetoro, said nowhere.
Yeah, but Joseph wasn't Joseph Adetoro at first. He was Joseph Water. You remember, you had to find his name, and then now it's, you understand, now they're coming out with it, but you found his name a few days ago. That's why in a way I'm pissed we didn't get to do this earlier.
Yeah,
because we get me, we come with some groundbreaking shit that people are like, we were so early with it that people would have got offended if we had come out saying what we were saying then.
Yeah,
it would have probably caused a huge backlash. But now, after a few days, quite a few people are actually saying the same thing.
We didn't break the story, but we are looking into things that other people aren't looking into.
But
sure.
But you know, right now, I'll be real with you. Yeah, this ain't no offense. Yeah, I've seen comments online saying investigate the dad. Yeah, straight up. Like you get me. I've seen people saying investigate the dad. The man is lying. So I know it's a tragic situation he's in right now, but that's what people are saying.
Well, we're going to investigate the story. That's what we're going to do for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but I've seen people straight away. They've seen that the wife's died and they've seen the daughter's died, and they're saying investigate the dad. Look into him.
Now remember, the mother died by drowning. Apparently, that's been reported. So apparently, that is the post-mortem examination conclusion. Yeah, post-mortem hasn't been delivered for these 3 young women yet. So we can't say they died by drowning. It just looks like that.
True.
But again, like I said, there's so much to this that I'm not gonna assume they just died by drowning. And I'm not going to assume they just decided to go skinny dipping or decided to just walk into the sea. I have questions about if they were in that venue, why they were there in the first place at ages 32 to 36 at a student rave, all the way in Brighton, when they live in Oxbridge and they live together, apparently.
Yeah.
And I have questions about why one father of 3 daughters has one daughter named after him and the 2 not. Named after.
Well, I was doing some digging, yeah, and the only person I found with that name was a Nigerian politician, right? But on further research today, it seems like he's already deceased. The person
I asked around some people that I know from Central and West Africa, and they told me that editorial is 100% a Nigerian name.
Yeah,
100%. Like 100%. So I was like, okay, cool, because I don't know, but somebody who's from that region of the world told me that is 100% a Nigerian. They weren't just saying West African; they said Nigerian specifically.
Yeah, and that's why. This is why I've been very specific in this story, where I've heard the news outlet make it into a black issue, like it's just targeting the wider black community. I'm letting people know that this is very much a Nigerian and a West African situation, but I would be surprised if it's even outside of Nigeria. I personally believe this is entirely a Nigerian situation. All the victims are Nigerian and all the culprits are Nigerian as well. That's what I personally believe. Let me show you something, yeah? Because you see there was a good like 10 hours where I couldn't get hold of you, and I was finding all this stuff and I was trying to like make note of it, but this is one of the things I found on Instagram. This is a video. See, when people ask, what are these people, what are these people doing by the water? Yeah, this is the sort of things, like, don't be surprised. This is the sort of things you'll find. This woman is doing
A woman performs a river ritual
right?
in Nigeria, but what happens next shocks everyone. Watch the video.
Woman is dashing things in the water. Yeah, dashing bare food in the water. What just happened? So you know what that is, yeah? You know what she's doing? She's offering, she's giving an offering to the mummy water spirit, yeah?
Mummy water, yeah.
Yeah, so you know they got the similar thing in Jamaica. I don't know what it's called in Jamaica, but they do it down by the river. They give it an offering and they get, yeah, they do it for wealth. You understand? But if you look into these things, right? Mad. Like, it just so happens that over the last couple of weeks, I was watching a load of videos, random videos, just on mermaids and sirens. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes me and my daughter will be watching them and stuff like that. So a lot of them went back to like Jamaica or West Africa. You know what I mean? People telling actual stories of encounters and things like that. So that kind of answers people's questions why these things are happening in their bodies of water. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This stuff is very entrenched in Nigerian spirituality. Nigerian spirituality is totally based around water. Do you know what I mean? A lot of African spirituality is actually. Do you know what I mean?
It's not totally, bro. You have water, you have fire, you have war, you have all different types of deities for different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why it's important as well, because not all practices, ritual practices that are outside of organized Abrahamic religion are demonic. But you see when people are dying, that's when things start getting spooky.
Yeah.
When the sacrifices and offerings become living sentient beings. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's when it starts getting spooky. When you start killing things that are alive,
yeah,
animals and people. This is because now you're shedding blood in the name of ritual.
Of course.
You understand? So when we're looking at this particular thing now, and she's named as Janice Adetoro, that means that she was married to Joseph Adetoro.
Yeah.
Or at least apparently so. Yeah, because her photo is right here. In my receipts. Janice Adetoro. Yeah. So with that being said, now when I'm looking at these kind of things, I'm saying, all right, so she was married to their father. She's had mental health issues. What they said it was stress related. What was the cause of the stress? Now the father, what have you found out about what he does for a living?
Well, what I found about the only Joseph Adetoro I could find, he seemed like he was a politician, and he seemed like he had some sort of like I don't know if he was based in the UK, but he had definitely been over here in the, you know what I mean, in some point in his educational career. So he's probably British educated. From what I've just seen, he's no longer alive. However, the GoFundMe is meant to be his brother,
Lincoln.
And I've
Lincoln is his brother. Sorry.
Yeah, we need to look into Lincoln but hold on, but Lincoln is the brother of the wife.
Yeah.
But that wife, she looks like she's Nigerian. Lincoln is not a Nigerian name.
Neither is Janice.
You know what I mean? Lincoln is not a Nigerian name.
Oh, bro, neither is Janice. Neither is
Yeah. But you know, Janice could be. You know, sometimes you'll have a English name.
We don't need to make it long and like Nigerian people. They have their English name and they have their true names. And I don't think there's nothing even wrong with that. But then there's also a section of Nigerian people that love 419ing, and they might not even really have been legitimately married. That's how enough of them do it. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, you got to think that the photograph he put forward was an AI photograph. It was an AI picture.
What is it?
Yeah,
I'm looking at it now. Yeah.
Shall I bring it up?
Is that him with the three? Is it this one that you're gonna bring up?
No, that's an old. That's the only picture he has. Well, I don't want to say that's the only picture they have of him and his children.
Are you talking? I know which one you're talking. Are you talking about the three? The photo of the three of them?
Yeah, the three. That's an AI picture. When I've looked into
because we were doing some digging, and when we started digging, the women did not look anything like these.
No. Well, we couldn't find any socials of these people, which is quite interesting. It's quite interesting.
31 to 36, and not one social media profile.
Quite interesting to not have any socials, any. There's no like footprint. The dad, like I said, name changing all over the place. Like people changing their names and children changing their names from their parents' names in order. That's a sign that maybe they've had people after them. The fact that they, that just by their name they could be traced, or the fact that they might not want to be known by that name because that name might have been associated with things that they don't. So we don't know. It's a tough one. It's techie. It ain't as straightforward as it seems. And I think there's been a deliberate attempt to make it into there's someone out there hunting black women, and rather than like I've just shown you that people can act like that's not a thing in Nigeria. It is. Do you know what I mean? It is. They've gone to the cash and carry. You know what I mean? Even Jamaica, they go there with a little bag of things and dash it in the river. These people had a pallet. Everything they threw into the river was multi-pack. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this wasn't no small. This thing really happens. It's really been happening in London when they cut that boy's head off and cut his limbs off and dashed him in the river. That boy that never was identified. That was what was going on. You understand? So when all of these people are disappearing in bodies of water and they're making out, yeah, cool. But it's almost like when people hear that this is coming from the Nigerian community, they want to be like, nah, let's keep looking. It's like, mate, just use your common sense. Shit. I don't know if Brixton Jesus is temporarily but yes. But yeah, you just got to use your common sense. It's a very a lot of these things are very common practices, not just in Nigeria, in West Africa. But with all, like what Mark Anthony said, with any kind of spiritual practice, there's always an extreme element to many things. There's always that extreme element. There's always that set of man who want to take things further. You see what I'm saying? What was I trying to find before? Where are we? There's so much mad stuff connected to this case. So we've looked into the mummy water. We've seen the woman dashing things into the river. All right, cool. Brixton Jesus is back.
Yeah, I don't. So, bro, you're gonna have to sue with me, rude boy. Sometimes when it's a bit breezy, the internet is a bit dodgy.
Bro, you know what? Right now, where I am, at the literal edge of England. Yeah.
End of the earth, rude boy.
That's what happened the other day, bruv. Even the other day, like I don't know what happened when I was trying to get online when my thing cut out, and then my phone wouldn't charge up either. It was almost like the power. It was almost like the power was just gone.
Listen, there's been a lot of technical difficulties getting in the way of us having this conversation in front of the world.
100%.
We've been able to have it and piece together a lot of things, but publicly, there's been a lot of things that's been getting in the way. Have you spoken to Monique?
I have briefly. She meant to be jumping on the live, but I was even today. Yeah, getting this. I was probably like got back within 10 minutes before I had to get on the live. You see what I'm saying? It's been a bit of a mad one. We've been running around all day. Well, not even running around, sitting around, dogs acting up. You know how it goes. But yeah, so I don't know what people are going to think, and people are. I see a couple people give shock face to my comments, and I had one white liberal accuse me of racism. You know what I mean? And it was like, it's not racism. It's not racism just because I called out the facts. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, can you hear me properly? My headphones are a bit. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, are you still there, Brixton Jesus? I think everything is frozen up. Hold on. Let's have a look on it. See, well, just as we were talking about the internet being crazy, it wasn't even lying. So yeah, we've got a bit of technical difficulties, but hopefully people can still hear what I'm saying and everything's all good. All right, Brixton Jesus is gone, but I'm confident it'll be back. So yeah, I think a lot of people want it to be, they wanted it to be that, you know, they wanted it to be that, so that, you know, and the fact that it isn't that, some people are now saying, oh, it's racist because you've come out with a more logical explanation to what's going on. It doesn't change, it doesn't make it any less bad what is happening. So it doesn't make, so just because it's not a white man targeting black people at random, it doesn't make it any less bad. It's still just as bad what the person, you know what I mean? These people are targeting people from their own community. You understand? So it is still just as bad. I think that the fact that it is now, I think now the fact is people are going to start realizing, okay, yeah, you know, this is something that is, you know, it has all the hallmarks of a West African ritualistic killing, unless they're just trying to set these people up. But it has all the hallmarks of it. And I think once people realize this, they're not going to want to pursue justice as hard as, you know what I mean? And this is the thing. This is the problem with the media interfering with things. You know what I mean? The media isn't doing it. The media isn't doing this out of the goodness of their heart. The media is doing this because of the pressure. The media has been put under so much pressure to talk about this over the months. There has been people, and we're gonna have to give these people some sort of coverage on this channel as well, because I've seen some articles going back a few years where they've been talking about this. So it's not, this ain't, you know, I ain't the first person. I'm one of the last people to talk about this. But this has been spoken about. They have been trying to raise this issue up for years. So now they have raised it up, and the average person like myself can go and look into the facts that are available there easily, and they can see, okay, this is what it is. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It is probably a good thing that it has been brought to the surface, but I don't think people should stop there. I don't think people should, you know, just look at it like, oh, there's someone targeting black women, and turn it into another, you know, turn it into another sob story where, you know, everyone can cry victim and everyone can make it about themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? This is the thing. You know, a lot of people will make this about themselves, when in actual fact it hasn't got nothing to do with them. And actually, what you really need to focus on is the people who could potentially be a target, i.e. Nigerian women. That's what you need to be focusing on specifically. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what it's looking like. Until you have any other information to tell you otherwise, that's what you need to be looking at. So yeah, geez, how long have I been going on for? Hopefully, I'll wait around for a bit, see if Brixton Jesus comes back on. In the meantime, let me find something I can just, because there's been so much stuff on this. Right, All right. So
I'm ready, I'm willing, and I'm able to rock and roll.
Be ready with Emmy Cafe Latte.
Investing isn't for you. It's for people like
We believe investing is for everyone.
early in the morning.
so yeah, let's get into this. Quick 10.
And it's 3 sisters, 3 black women, all died in strange circumstances that we don't have an answer to yet. And if I'm being honest, guys, I feel like I'm having deja vu. About 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, in fact, I did a video addressing some concerns where there was multiple dead bodies that wound up by bodies of water, lakes, rivers, sea. And the thing that connected all those dead bodies is that they were black people. So I did a video basically almost floating a theory out there that was there some sort of serial killer or something like targeting black people, right? Now, I'm not saying that was a fact. There was a lot of suspicious circumstances around how and why these people ended up dying and passing away. But it was just a theory that I wanted to float out there because it was the strangest circumstances years ago. Multiple black people of multiple ages, women, boys, men, all dead, all winding up by bodies of water. So when I've now seen that 3 beautiful black sisters, right, 3 sisters have wound up dead, washed up, again, suspicious circumstances. And I'm just confused. I'm confused at how this has happened. 3 sisters, and it turns out, now they've been identified, it turns out that the 3 sisters' mum died in 2010 from a drowning, bodies of water. Now, again, not everything in this life is a conspiracy or some sort of wild story, but one thing I've learned in 31 years of living is that real life is stranger than fiction. Right, really take that in, because fiction, movies, books, most of that can't even lay a finger on how weird and strange the real life world actually is. Having looked into a little bit about what's happened or the story, we can see that they've now been identified. I'm gonna name them shortly, and not only that, one of their aunties has come out and basically condemned people for pushing conspiratorial narratives. And I think that's a bit strange, to be honest. Like, if we don't know, like, people weren't saying it in malice. People care about these women. People want to know how these women ended up washed up on a beach somewhere. 3 sisters. What kind of tragedy is that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to read the auntie's quotes in a minute. But I don't know. I think the family's reaction is kind of strange. I mean, to be fair, who am I to say that? I've never lost 3 family members all in one go and had the world speaking about it and pushing certain narratives. I can't relate to that, I suppose. I can't tell anyone how to grieve, but I just thought the reaction was kind of strange because people actually care what's happened to these women. I'm just going to read a bit from an article, and I just want to kind of address it. I'm not saying these people are linked to some sort of foul play, but 3 women, their own mum died in similar circumstances. It's just strange. Like, why would they?
Big up to Topical Juice, because you know what? He's on point. You can tell he's on point. He's asking the right questions. He ain't just running with a narrative. He's seen that, yeah, this doesn't add up.
Water if they're not strong swimmers. You understand? You know, many people, especially in the black community, can't swim.
And big him up, because this is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people, the information that I've come with today, the average person, yeah, I don't expect the average person to know about this sort of stuff, yeah. So the fact that it don't add up, but this is what we're here for. We're here to fill in the missing pieces of the puzzle, so you can understand. We don't know how this happened. Don't get me wrong. We don't know what actually happened, but we now have a rough idea of what could have been happening. You see what I'm saying? We have a rough idea. We're looking into the culture. We're looking into certain customs. We're looking into certain rituals that have been going on. Rituals that have been getting very popular recently on TikTok. Yeah, we could go even deeper into it, because if I was to talk to certain believers, like if I was to talk to certain Nigerian people who are believers, like in all this stuff, yeah, they may even interpret it as something else. So they might even say, boy, these girls went and made an offering to the mummy water, and the offering was rejected or whatever. And that's just because these are the sort of things that you'll hear when you hear about the fishermen in Nigeria getting taken under. This is the sort of stories you'll hear. Do you see what I'm saying? Giving offerings to these things, and then one, so if you want to go and research this sort of thing and go and look into it, then it's worth looking into if you can be bothered. You know what I mean? But if you do, it will answer a lot of questions that you're not really going to get answered by, like, British people. Not going to be able to answer these questions. They're not going to be able to answer these questions based on their own spiritual understanding or their own understanding.
I'm very grateful that I learned how to swim from young, but that's a concern. So if black people, and bearing in mind, it's a flip.
See, it's even gone back to, oh, see, black people should learn to swim. We've gone back to stereotype. And don't get me wrong, I ain't even going to get into it. But, this is what it's got. It's easier to go into the stereotypes than actually go into what I've been talking about. Yeah, ritualistic behavior.
Flipping stereotype as well. You know what I'm saying? Black people can't swim. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a known thing that black people can't swim, why are so many black people ending up dead by bodies of water? It just doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense if you understand that what these people, the victims are Nigerian. So it does make sense. But if you want to keep looking at it through the lens of black, it's just black. You know what I mean? If you want to blanket everybody with that term, then it won't make as much sense, because it would appear more random. But as evidence shows you, it's not that random. It's very targeted. It's very specifically targeted. So yeah, let's continue.
As you can see on your screen right now, family of 3 sisters found dead at Brighton Beach condemn conspiracy theories. The bodies of Jane Adatoro, 36, Christina Waters, 32, and Rebecca Waters, 31, were recovered from the sea on the 13th of May after concerns were raised about a person spotted in the water. Sussex police identified the 3 sisters on Wednesday as their father issued a tribute to his daughters whose lives ended so tragically far too soon. Speculation online around the deaths of the 3 sisters has increased since their identities became known. The sisters' aunt, Ejike Adatoro, has told the Times that the conspiracies were doing the family more harm than good. That's the sad thing in all of this. There is no compassion shown towards the 3 girls and their memory of how we know they would like to be remembered. Before I carry on, I think she needs to check the internet properly, car. Compassion is something that everyone is showing. Everyone's concerned. There's a lot of empathy. So auntie, I can only imagine the pain that you're going through right now. I can tell you how to feel. But if you do look at the internet, people aren't trying to do conspiracies to disrespect the memory of the 3 lovely ladies. This is more trying to understand the situation. Maybe it is just a tragedy. Maybe one of them fell into the water and one of them tried to dive in to save them, drowned, and then the other, you know what I'm saying? Like there's many possibilities of how this has happened. It's just strange, isn't it? It's strange circumstances. Now I've seen.
At the end of the day, yeah, this is one of them situations that, at the end of the day, if we're just going to get dishonesty from all sides, then you can't expect people not to go on the internet and not to come up with their own theories and not to do their own due diligence, like what we've been doing, and coming up with their own conclusions. And like I said, maybe a lot of these new generation, the younger generation, they're not as maybe culturally tapped in as my generation was. So we you know what I mean, we know that we live in a country full of hundreds of thousands of Nigerians, people of Nigerian descent. So we, you know what I mean? The way I look at it, you may as well learn about these people's culture. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you learn about this culture? These people live in your country. There's hundreds of thousands of them living in your country. So you choose not to learn about their culture. And then, do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. People need to start educating themselves. Do you know what I mean? Because if you educated yourself, the whole country wouldn't even be baffled. You'd be like, oh, fair enough. And I think this has been going on for so long, and it's been covered up for so long. That's why people haven't seen the pattern, because they've tried to palm all these little things off, like that Adam that got found in the River Thames. They've tried to palm it off as like an isolated incident. And yeah, it was an isolated incident in terms of how horrific it was, but in terms of other things that were being done near the water, it's not uncommon. There's people doing things, dashing things in the water. You get me? These people dashing. Right, this is the facts of the matter. There's people in Africa dashing things into the river, usually rivers. These things, you know what I mean? But also in the sea as well. And there's people in the UK dashing things in the Thames and other bodies of water and lakes and shit. And that's just the facts of the matter. Do you know what I mean? The people might not want to accept it, but this is just one of these things. You understand? You have to look into Nigerian culture, not just Nigerian culture, cultures that have roots in West Africa. So even Jamaican culture, Haitian, like they have similar customs to this. So when people are acting all shocked, like, oh, that's your problem for living in England, claiming to be about equality, claiming to give a fuck about other people, yeah, but refusing to learn anything about them because you view their entire culture as insignificant, yeah. And then when the facts of the cultures comes out, you're in complete denial because you chose not to learn about it. Well, this is facts. So we don't know how these people ended up in the water. We don't know if it was an accident, like they went in the water and got swept by a current. We don't know if someone held their heads under the water. We don't know if this thing they talk about in their spirituality actually came for them women. Yeah, we don't even know. But what we do know is there's more clues pointing to something that goes on within Nigerian culture. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure people go out in Nigeria, go fishing or whatever, and get eaten by a crocodile, and it might get interpreted as, you know what I mean? So you understand. But like I said, if people want an explanation what anyone was doing in the water at 5 a.m, just have a look on TikTok and see what people are doing in rivers at 5 o'clock in the morning in America, in the Caribbean, in Africa. Do you see what I'm saying? Just have a look yourself. But yeah, man, I don't know. I might have to continue this like on a later date. Oh, Mark, you're back. Sorry, I didn't even know you were back still.
No, I just got back, man.
Calm.
I was having internet issues, bro.
No, do you know what it is, bro? It's the same over here, you know. I'm glad. I don't know if you caught anything that I said.
No, because I was trying to get on back onto the
meeting. Yeah, I just kind of said that, you know, because I don't know everyone who's heard this has already heard me say this, but when you live in a country like England, you know, you have hundreds of thousands of however many thousands of Nigerian people who live here. Yeah, so it makes sense you'd learn about their culture. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you claim to be someone who's all for equality and give a fuck about other people's culture and shit. Yeah, you'd think someone would learn a little bit about it, so that we don't have another one of these awkward situations now.
I would say generally, yeah, but not when it comes to the occult or ritualistic stuff.
No, but well, it's
people from outside of the culture shouldn't be expected to know about that at all.
Yeah, but you don't have to be. Not really. You don't have to. You don't have to.
You have to be a part of the culture to know. What I'm saying is, from outside of the culture, you're not supposed to be expected to know about that because it ain't your culture.
I hear that, but I think if you live in a country where you, regardless of whether it's your culture or not, you still got to cross paths with these people. You still got to have some understanding of who you're dealing with.
The like what's the is things like off rice, bro. Not ritual practices.
Yeah,
They're not supposed to know that, bro.
you don't think they're supposed to know? You don't think so? Well, I think this is the first thing. Well, they might not know it, but I think this is the first thing. One of the first things people need to know if they don't want these sort of things happening in their country. Right, man. You still there? Yo. All right, we're gonna wait for Brixton Jesus to come back on. Sorry, people. Got to be done. So yeah. So what do you think? Brixton Jesus said people shouldn't be expected to know about things like that, like occult sort of stuff. So he's saying, yeah, like things like food and stuff like that. But stuff like you know, the practice of voodoo and these sorts of things, it's not expected to know. It's like, I don't know, man. For me, like that's one of the first things I want to know about a country or about people. That's the first thing I want to know. You know what I mean? That, like, if someone's dealing with some black magic and shit, I don't want it to be like the last thing I find out about the person. I'd rather it be the first thing I find out about a person. Do you know what I mean? Brighton as well is a big occult place as well. So you have to understand Brighton. We spoke about it in the podcast the other day. Brighton is one of them places, very, very mad town. A lot of satanic stuff goes on in Brighton. Loads of it. A lot of towns around it as well are known for being like what's that place called, Devil's Dyke, and all these sorts of places. You know, you got all these like known haunted hotspots around like East Sussex and shit like that, West Sussex. Yeah, man, I don't know. I might have to wrap this up, but if anything, I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll continue. Hopefully we'll get